Hi everyone, it's Alyssa here at the Township of Washington Public Library, and I'm coming to you with our craft for January. We are doing this really lovely little wood slice painting. I love these. I love the natural bark on the outside. I love the texture of the rings of the tree, and I think that this little painting is super cute. And of course, we love to rep our area. We love the Cardinal. And so I'm going to show you how to do this. If you got a kit, I have given you everything that you need. Your paintbrushes, your paint, and the wood slice. The only thing that you would need is a little bowl or cup for some water, some paper towels, and then you can see this does have a little hole in it, so you can hang it up somewhere. So if you want to use twine or a ribbon, you can do that. And I've given you the reference photo from where I got this that has more than just this design, so you can kind of decide which design you want to do, or you can follow along with me exactly for this one. This doesn't take that long to do at all. It is very simple and very quick, and it doesn't need to be perfect, and it was so simple and really fun and very relaxing to do. All right, so we are going to get started with this quick and cute craft. Okay, so we're going to do this in layers. So we're going to work from the background to the foreground. And so I have everything here that I need. My water, my paint, some paper towels, and some paper towels to, this is my memory card, some paper towels to wipe off my brush. And then right here I have my reference on my phone. I gave you the printout of the image. There are 3 different Cardinal wood slices that you can choose from. So I'm doing that little bottom one because I think that this shape will be easier for me to get correct. But so my paint tray doesn't have the green because I'm not doing the one with the pine, but I did put green in your kit in case that is the one that you want to do. Okay, so I'm just going to start with my background with the blue, and it's not just this blue, it definitely has some white in it. It's not as saturated. So I'm just going to take out some of that saturation and lighten it up a little bit with the white. And just make sure I mix up enough. And then this particular image, I do like how this is. You don't need to do it exactly how it is, but I like that it starts dark and then it goes lighter and then there's some snow on the bottom too. So I'm just gonna follow this image pretty much exactly, just because I like it. The nice thing about this is you don't need to worry about making sure that your background is 100% opaque, because if it's not, you get to see that pretty wood grain coming through, and I love that. So I'm getting my brush just a little bit wet because it helps the paint flow on the wood easier. I don't want to make my brush too wet. Maybe in December you followed along with the paint along with me, and I definitely there were some times where we really wanted the brush to be wet to help with the paint flowing. We don't want our brush to be too wet here because this is natural wood, and sometimes the wood can split if it gets a little too moist, so we're not going to do that. So as I go along, I'm going to just keep adding some white to the mix so that I get a nice gradation. And the wood really does kind of soak this up. So you do kind of want to work fast, but you can do some back and forth and back and forth. And see, I'm kind of like blending in downward strokes. Right, that's too much water. That was an example of too much water, not enough paint. That's better. So as your first coat dries, it will get a little bit easier to blend and add more because that first layer really gets soaked up from the wood. And if you want some more opacity, like I said before, you can kind of go back in as it dries. It does dry very quickly on the wood, which is nice. But the second layer is a little easier to blend and to paint because you already have that paint down almost as a primer. Another thing that you can do if you really don't care about any of the wood grain showing through is you could paint a white circle on here and get, you know, a primer on there before you start painting your sky and your tree and all of the details. But I like how the wood grain, you can see the circles, the rings of the tree down there. I really like that. So that's good. So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna rinse off my brush, open up my image again. I'm gonna open up my image again. And so the next thing that I'm going to do is start with my tree trunk, which is a dark brown. I'm actually going to use this brush so I can get a better shape. Oh, I need some black paint. That's the other color that I need, that I gave you and not to myself. Okay, so I'm wetting my brush down again. It makes the paint flow a little easier. And I'm going to have my brown. I'm going to put some black into it just to darken it. So it's a little bit more of a darker tree trunk color. I'm going to save some of this brown. I didn't want to put the black directly into it because I do want to use the brown for the bird's beak, so I didn't want to change all of it. Okay, so I'm just going to do my tree trunk. I'm going to take it right across. Let's see. I am absolutely winging this. I am not sketching anything out ahead of time. Go with the flow. So when you go to do the branches that start coming off, really you do want to get your brush wet for that, because that will help you get some of those really nice thin lines. And then if they're not opaque enough for you, then you can go back over it. But the water helps your brush flow a little bit better, and then doing this little twirl helps to keep your ends together. These don't need to be perfect either, because we are going to put some snow on them. We're going to add a little shadow with some more black. There's no need for perfection. I'm going to add a little bit more black to make this darker so that I have some shadowing in here. I'm going to wash my brush off. I'm going to let this dry just a little bit. And then I'm going to start with the red for the cardinal. While I'm waiting for the branch to dry, I'm going to go in with some white. And like really just the barest hint of black to make it almost a little gray. Just take out some of the brightness. Oops, more white. The black sure is potent. Okay. And just do some snow down at the bottom. Not that this is the ground, but maybe this is the background. I don't know. Alright, so the cardinal shape. I'm going to start with the tail. It's almost kind of like a fish tail, right? So I'm just going to do like a little V. And they're kind of like triangles. It's going to go right up here to where the bird is sitting on the trunk of the tree. And I'm trying not to press down, right? Not pressing down. I have water on the edge of my brush just to get like a nice point here. And it's not perfect, and that's okay. Okay. Okay, and then we've got kind of like an egg. The bird's body is a little bit like an egg. And then the head is a circle. So that's really the shape of my bird, and I'll kind of keep on refining it and fixing it. Right? We paint in layers, so we let it dry and then we keep going. Okay, so I'm going to let this layer of my Cardinal dry. I'm actually not mad that some of the brown mixed into the red because it makes a nicer low light and texture than putting black in here. So when this dries, I'm gonna go in and add some highlight of just kind of some pink. I'm gonna add just the tiniest bit of white into some of the red, and I'll pull a highlight in some places, and then places where I want there to be more red, I'll do that. So this does need to dry, so I'm gonna let this dry for a few minutes. In the meantime, I can start doing some snow on the trees. So I want just the white, just the pure white. And let's see how we did it in the reference picture. And you just pile some white, some lovely snow onto your tree. And I'm not even using paint strokes. You can see I'm just kind of tapping. And that gives it such a nice natural texture of some fluffy snow that's just kind of hanging out. I like that. That looks good. Okay. And the brush that I'm using right now is dry, and that's helping to get that fluffy texture. So that's turning out nice. And I'm going to do that on top of a lot of the branches as well. And that sort of also helps to cover any shapes of the branches that you don't like. It's a very forgiving painting project. Okay, and then you can take the back end of your brush and dip it into your pure white, and now you have a little dotting tool to make some snow. All right, so I'm gonna finish waiting for this Cardinal here to dry, and then I'm going to go over with my red. Like I said, I'm gonna add some white to it, which one will help with a little bit of opacity, and two will give some highlights. And I'll touch that up, and then we'll add the beak, and that's it. So we're almost done, just waiting for this to dry. I'll be right back. Okay, so I went through and I just kind of played with that brown coming through. I added a little bit of the almost pinkish red, and then I went back in with more of the regular red, and I really leaned into the brown underneath the circle, so you can see that that's the head shape. And so now I'm going to wash my brush again. I'm going to take the brown and some white, lighten that up. And I'm going to do the beak. And this is really just going to be just like a little tap. I'm probably going to mess this up. Ready? We're going to go in with just a little tap. I'm going to do it upside down because that's all wet. Okay. Just a little tap. Yeah, messing that up. All right, let's see. Let's try if I do. Using the end. Oh, there we go. There we go. That's a better shape. Okay, and then I'm going to grab the red again. Just to cover up the spot where I accidentally bled into here. And then we've got a nice little birdie that's looking up at the snowfall. So you can go ahead and put any kind of twine, string, whatnot through here. You can hang it up maybe in front of a window. I don't know, wherever else you hang things up. I think in front of a window would just be really pretty. So that was the idea that I had, was in front of a window. But you can hang it up anywhere you would like. You don't even need to hang it up if you don't want to. You could use it as a shelf sitter. If you do that, you can take your thin brush and kind of put some blue into the hole back there, so it kind of camouflages it a little bit more. Yeah, you could use it as a shelf sitter, put it on your bookshelf, on a hutch somewhere. But yeah, I'm gonna hang mine up, maybe put it in front of a window, and it'll be just kind of like the perfect little snowy scene. There we go.